ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Thursday, October 3rd. Your drive begins right now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour, as always, 304-396-TALK. That is 304-396-8255. We're getting closer to Marshall and App State. We've got more from Coach Huff to get into this week. Also, we're going to hear from Stone Earle a little bit later on. And, of course, I want to hear from you. As we get closer to the game, I think we all know by now what we think is going to happen. It might not be what actually happens, but we think we know what's going to happen. So, of course, that means it's time for you. And as I boot up the text machine right now, we're going to get that going here in a moment. What do you think is going to happen? How's the Herd going to win this one on Saturday? Is it going to be, of course, a touchdown by a running back? Is it going to be a pick six? What do you think is going to happen? So you know how that works. We do that every week. Pick how the Herd wins. What's going to be the winning play? And we'll do that here with you in just a few minutes. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. So we're getting everything situated. We've got one lone baseball game tonight. One lone game. And it's the deciding game between the Brewers and the Mets, all tied up at one apiece after the Brewers got the win against the Mets yesterday. So the deciding game is coming up tonight in Milwaukee. And we also have Thursday night football coming up tonight. And we're going to have that game following the Coach Huff show. Coach Huff show is going to be from 7 to 8. Then we've got Thursday night football from 8 until probably midnight, and that's going to be Tampa Bay at Atlanta. And so we'll have that game for you tonight as well on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We even have college football tonight. How many of you are going to be tuning in to see Texas State and Troy? I know that's some Sun Belt West Division action, but still, Texas State making some news as of late. If you haven't caught up, they were considered to be a new member of the Mountain West Conference. Apparently, the negotiations stalled on that, and so Texas State releasing a statement to the effect that, hey, we appreciate the attention from a conference, left names out, but we're going to stay right now. This is the best place for us, so Texas State is going to stay, for the time being at least, in the Sun Belt. I hate to say this, and I don't have anything against Texas State. As a program, I don't know the people at Texas State. I'm not really interacting with their media, their fans. I don't know too much about Texas State, so I don't have a negative or a positive opinion on them. But I was actually hopeful that maybe if Texas State would leave, that would open up the door for, say, the return of a school like Western Michigan. I'm sorry, I got them on the brain still. Western Kentucky. Absolutely was hoping that it had been Western Kentucky that might have got a phone call and said, hey, would you like to be back in the Sun Belt? And I'm sure that the Hilltoppers would love to have been back in the Sun Belt instead of where they're at right now in Conference USA. And I'm sure there are a lot of teams out there that probably would have liked to have taken a look at the Sun Belt and maybe made a move, because Sun Belt pretty much is put together right now in it's sensible. The geography is sensible, and I know that's what we talk about, but I like the matchups as well. I actually like all the matchups in the East Division, some more than others, like this one coming up on Saturday with Appalachian State, but still, I like the matchups. I'm actually looking forward to all of the East Division matchups, and that includes Georgia Southern. Georgia State. I like that matchup. Coastal Carolina, James Madison. I like these matchups that are in the East Division. So I'm hoping that the Sun Belt can stay together. And maybe it's good news that Texas State really isn't looking to jump right now, or at least that wasn't the best offer for them. It's $5 million to get out. That's not terrible. In this day and age, $5 million's not that terrible. It's not like some of the power conference buyouts, but still, $5 million's not terrible. You can get a few donors, and you can make that go away real quick if you really were motivated. But would you have liked to have seen Texas State maybe leave the Sun Belt and bring a team that's going to be maybe a little bit more favorable to the geography for Marshall, instead of having that long trip to Texas? And I know there are always going to be long trips on the schedule somewhere, but you could eliminate that trip in your rotation and have an opponent that's a little bit closer. Maybe you reconfigure the divisions a little bit. I don't know how you would have gone about that. Maybe Western Kentucky could have been a West Division foe. Maybe. Would have been interesting to see how that dynamic would have played out. In football, of course, you want to get them back on the schedule. Obviously, if you got a built-in conference game, I think you got a built-in rivalry game right there. It might not be as exciting for Western Kentucky fans, and it might be. I'd have to talk to some of them. But I don't know if Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee had that same flavor to it when Marshall and Western Kentucky was at its height of rivalry aspect. I don't know if you could say, yeah, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, that's the rivalry. I think it was Marshall and Western Kentucky. So we'll get your thoughts on that. I'm going to open up the text line here in just a moment. And that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as we get set for a busy night. We got volleyball coming up tonight. That's going to be over at the Henderson Center. The Herd taking on Georgia Southern, and I believe that's getting started right now. And then 7 o'clock tonight, for those of you looking to have a fun time with the men's and women's basketball team, they are shutting down, and they have already shut it down, actually, 3rd Avenue. And this is right next to Pullman Square. Hoops in Huntington. So they're going to have the court out there. They're going to have events. I know the kids are going to be running around all over the place, having fun, good time. It's going to be a nice little street festival and some basketball involved as well. Jolie Folks will be there. Cornelius Jackson, the team's going to be there. So an opportunity for you to hang out and be a part of a Marshall basketball event in Huntington. Hoops in Huntington, once again, taking over the streets of Huntington. So that's coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. And, of course, that's just the start of all the activity. Volleyball tomorrow as well at the Henderson Center. And then, of course, we've got Friday night soccer, and we've got the game against Marshall and Appalachian State coming up on Saturday. So we got a lot to look forward to. And we also have football tonight. So don't forget, Tampa Bay, Atlanta. We've got the game for you right after the Coach Huff show. That'll start at 7 o'clock. So if you're not doing basketball, keep it right here. We got the Coach Huff show on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So when we continue, let's hear a little bit from Coach Huff. We'll get a better preview of this matchup between Marshall and App State. That's coming up on Saturday. And we're going to hear from you at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118. At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm gonna have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Riley Green, live.
Doing things a little different, brand.
Damn Country Music Tour.
Damn country music.
Saturday, June 21st, Marshall Health Network Arena.
Damn country music.
With Ella Langley.
You look like you.
Lauren Watkins and Preston Cooper. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Now it's grandpa's never died.
Don't miss Riley Green.
Get ready for a spooktacular night at Thoroughbred Express Car Wash. Join us for Trunk or Treat Friday, October 18th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at our Hurricane location on Tays Valley Road or Hal Greer Boulevard in Huntington. Bring the whole family for tons of candy, fun, refreshments, and so much more. Calling all businesses. Want to join the fun? Sign up by emailing marketing@thoroughbredexpress.com or message us on Facebook. We'll see you at Thoroughbred Express for a frightful, fun trunk or treat.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Thursday edition of the program. We'll get your text in just a second. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. We're going to hear from Stone Earle just a little bit later on as well. We'll get a couple of things from him as the Herd getting set to take on Appalachian State. And, of course, we're asking you today on our text line, what's going to be the winning play? Is it going to be a Stone Earle quarterback keeper? I might go with that. That's my pick, maybe. You can check in now at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's go to the text line. We got a couple already queued up. First up, texter says, Paul, yes, replace Texas State with either Liberty or Western Kentucky, preferably Liberty. Also, Herd wins in overtime Saturday, 34-31 in front of a sellout crowd at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. We finally have some beautiful weather. Wouldn't that be something? A sellout at the Joan for App State. And, of course, yes, Texas State replaced them. Would you want Liberty or Western Kentucky? I think that's maybe a more interesting question to ask, so let's ask it. Liberty or Western Kentucky? Western Kentucky brings some familiarity to the situation. Marshall's got a built-in rivalry with Western Kentucky. Of course, I don't think the geography is really the issue here between Liberty or Western Kentucky. If you let Liberty in, does Liberty maybe run roughshod over the East Division? I would think you'd put them in the East Division. How would you restructure some of the divisions as well? That's going to be some of the, I think, the interesting dynamics is if you have to replace a team. Or does Liberty go, look, hey, we got money, we pay well, we're going to roll in this league we're in, we're going to make it pretty much almost every year to either the college football playoff if we do this thing right, or we'll get a really good bowl game. We'll be solid here. If we go to the Sun Belt, is that meaning maybe a little bit more of a challenging path? I don't know. And keep in mind, I don't think the Sun Belt's going to have a representative this year. It won't be a Sun Belt team that'll be in the playoff. I just don't feel it this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but it won't be Marshall. I know that much. A couple of losses already. I think if you're a non-autonomy school, you got to be perfect And if you're not perfect, then you got to be the next best thing to perfect if you want to be that conference champion that gets into the playoff. And, of course, it all comes down to the rankings. And it's not the coaches' poll. It's not the Associated Press poll. It's the playoff committee and the rankings they come out with. Let's go back to the text line. Texter says, Paul, Coach Huff, we're playing the Little Mountaineers. Don't knock heads with the knuckleheads. Give them some riverboat gambling. Air attack. Herd 54, Little Mountaineers 14. All right. So the Herd to beat the Little Mountaineers 54-14. Are we going to call them that? Is that what we're calling them, the Little Mountaineers? I'll let you say. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I don't think I've ever actually heard them called the Little Mountaineers. Let's hear from Coach Huff while we get more from the text line. You know, one of the big threats for Marshall will be trying to figure out and contain App State's all-world quarterback, Joey Aguilar. I mean, right now, this kid is everything. 93 for 164 passing, 1,230 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, this kid has got it going on. He's been a threat. He continues to be a threat. He will be a challenge for the Thundering Herd on Saturday. And Coach Huff, he knows it. He recognizes it. Hopefully he's got a game plan, but he does understand the assignment this week with Joey Aguilar.
Yeah, I think he's really good. You know, one of the things that I admire about App State is they've been very consistent doing what they do for a long time. Even as they've changed coaches and coordinators and, you know, players have come and go, the system has been the same. So what you get from that is you get some development. You know, a guy comes in as a freshman or a guy comes in, you know, has 1 or 2 years and now he's not relearning, you know, a system. You're taking the next step. I think Joey's done a phenomenal job of taking the next step. You know, he's gone from, you know, just being able to throw the ball to, you know, a receiver to progressing through the reads now and making sure that all his weapons are being used. Does a really good job of checking the ball down, doesn't get sacked a lot. Even though he's not a runner, you know, per se, he can run, but he's not a guy that, you know, you would put as a dual threat, you know, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. He moves well enough and finds the check down and takes off when he needs to prevent sacks. So that prevents you from being in, you know, long yardage situations where the defense may not be as advantageous. He's really done a good job, you know, over the last, you know, this 4 or 5 games, whatever they've played, of, you know, getting through the reads. You know, it's not just, hey, I'm throwing it to this guy on this play. It's, you know, you see the same concept in a few different guys being taken advantage of. You see, you know, him anticipating some throws, you know, which is, you know, a sign of growth. You know, he was voted, you know, Player of the Year, and I think he's well deserving of it. It's going to be a huge challenge for us, not only in the back end, but, you know, our front, making sure that we do a good job of getting to him.
And that's going to be important. You got to get to this guy. Absolutely. Because if not, if you give him time, he will find a way to pick you apart. And a lot of that has to do not with just his ability, but with that O-line, very good offensive line for App State.
I think their O-line does a good job of understanding what they're trying to do. They don't, you know, they don't give up much pressure. You know, even when you do get some one-on-ones, they don't give up a lot of pressure. And then he gets the ball out of his hands quick. That's the one positive or one thing that I think gets underrated from quarterback play, you know, in today's world. You know, how quickly can he get the ball out of his hands? You know, the D-line in today's world, all of them run 4.7, 4.5. It's not the old, you know, where they were big as the O-lineman. It was kind of just, you know, pushing a pile. These guys can move, so even the best O-lines can't block everybody for all day. So when you have a quarterback that can get it out of his hand quickly and get through the reads, it helps your O-line. You know, it helps prevent negative plays. So it's going to be a challenge for us. You know, I think our O-line has done a really good job of creating pressure over the last few years. Coach Street has done a really good job with those guys, but this will be a challenge.
We're listening to Charles Huff, head coach of the Thundering Herd. as we're getting you set for Marshall taking on App State. We're also getting your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Before we hear from Coach Huff a little bit more, let's go back to the text line. Texter says, Paul, the winning play is going to be a sack on 4th down in overtime. Oh, in overtime. That's pretty good. On Joey Aguilar by Mean Mike Green. So the winning play, Marshall's going to have the lead. I can picture it now in my head. Marshall has the lead, and it's 4th down. It's overtime. And App State could either tie or take the lead, right? Is that the scenario we're talking about here? And then ball snapped. Joey Aguilar, he's looking, but no, he doesn't have anyone open. And Mean Mike Green, the big mean green machine himself, will find him, sack him, game over, Herd wins, everybody goes home happy. I think that's what you're trying to say. I like it. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Speaking of defenses, Marshall's defense has been getting better, but App State, they also have a really good defensive unit, and Coach Huff talked a little bit more about what they do. The one thing he pointed out and talked about a lot is nothing's really changed. I mean, they might have thrown in a wrinkle here or there, but they're still that consistent App State defense that we've seen for several years now.
I wouldn't say a ton has changed. There's a few wrinkles. When you say wrinkles, there's things that they've always done that they're doing more of or less of, if that makes sense. They've added some, pieces from a player standpoint, which I think changes some of the defenses you call, if that makes sense. So I think they do a really good job, the defensive staff, of being player-based. What can our players do well? Their D-line has always been extremely active. It seems like they just keep graduating a guy. They just put him in the same jersey, same number. They look the exact same. It's like the guys never graduate. But they've done a really good job of recruiting to their schematical strengths, if that makes sense, which allows the teaching to stay consistent. You're not asking a guy who may not be athletically fit to do something that he may not be athletically able to do. So I think they're doing a really good job of playing to their players.
That's Coach Huff talking about their defensive players, and he expanded on that a little bit more about how well they play to their players, but they also do something well, and that's play with a lead. So if App State gets the lead, their defense really is able to do more against the opposition. The other part, I think just historically, defensively, it's easier to play defense when you got the lead, and they have a team on the other side of the ball that can score points in bunches, so every play doesn't have to be a negative play. They've done a really good job of eliminating explosive plays because, hey, I don't have to, blitz all 11 guys to stop, this play. If they move the ball down the field, we'll create a turnover, we'll get a sack, we'll put them in a situation. If whatever happens, they happen to score, we know our offense has the ability to strike quick and get right back in it. So I think that's allowed the defense to play and not feel forced, which makes it tough on the opposing offense because you're waiting for, a moment to take a shot, or you're waiting for a moment for a guy to be out of his gap, and they just play very sound. They force you to play extremely efficient on your side of the ball. This is one of those games where every possession, matters, because their offense gets 2 or 3 scores out in front of you. That's what happened last year. Their offense got 2, maybe 17-3 at one point last year. They get out in front of you, and it's like, well, we got to catch up with them because if we don't, they're gonna lap us. So it puts a little pressure on the opposing offense to be able to kind of, I won't say keep up, but would stay efficient with your drives. Charles Huff, his comments earlier this week. One more, and then we'll hit the break, and then we'll go back to the text line as well. Coach was asked about what kind of personality, what kind of identity that they have. They're really fond of using multiple tight ends. They're really good at moving their personnel around, and Coach Huff expanded on that a little bit more.
Yeah, they do a good job of mixing personnel. You know, they've been an outside zone stretch team, you know, for a long time, and they're good at it. You know, I think that's one of the things that Coach Clark has really done, and obviously he's an O-line coach by trade, but the O-line and that run game, it keeps them ahead of the sticks, you know, because a lot of times you're in second and manageable, which now when you got a really good quarterback, you know, you got the gamut, and they're physical up front. You know, they come off the ball. They're trying to inflict pain, you know, from a athletic standpoint. You know, and I think their running backs do a really good job of trusting the O-line. You can watch them play, and they'll go, you know, 2 or 3 plays, negative plays, and then there's one for 40. You know, they believe in that system. They believe in the process of that system that, hey, every play might not go 40, but, you know, if we pound this rock, you know, long enough, one of them's going to break, and that's typically what you see. So we're going to have to do a really good job of tackling because one of the things that I think we've got to improve on is we've given up a lot of leaky yards. You guys probably heard me say that before, where we might hit the guy at the line of scrimmage, but, you know, it kind of just leaks into 3. You know, it kind of just leaks into 4. With these backs, they get their shoulders square. The O-line continues to block, so they don't just block you and stop. They continue to block down the field. So those leaky yards where you hit the guy at 2 yards and he gets 3, well, that's a 5-yard gain. You know, so that's where we got to be a little bit more stouter. We got to tackle with a little bit more positioning, so we're knocking guys back. But because of their run game, because of their personnel adjustments, it's going to keep us defensively stressed. So we've got to be able to play with poise. We got to understand that, yes, we might knock them back for 2 plays, but we got to play the next play because it only takes one guy to get out of his gap, and the guy gets his foot in the ground, and the ball's on the safety fast.
Charles Huff, leaky yards. That's going to be a big issue for the Thundering Herd come Saturday. Want to avoid those leaky yards. All right. We'll get your text in just a moment. 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255. We'll hear a little bit from Stone Earle as well when we continue on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
One of the best tickets in town will always be activities at our local schools. Athletic events, concerts, and plays. You can always count on an enjoyable time. Our children are the future. Let's give them all the encouragement that we can. Go to a game, hear a concert, see a play. Ohio Valley Bank. Community first. Member FDIC.
You've cut back on everything and you're still coming up short at the end of the month. Give your local State Farm agent a call for a free discount double check. They'll show you how something as simple as combining car and home policies can save you hundreds of dollars a year. Being there to help keep more of your money is why your local State Farm agent is here. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Save big money this October at Menards. October is Fire Safety Month. From smoke and carbon monoxide alarms to fire extinguishers and more. Kidde home safety products keep your family protected in case of emergencies. Get a Kidde direct wire smoke alarm. A hardwired smoke alarm also has a AA battery backup for coverage in case of power outages. Save big at Menards and check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Collins Career Technical Center Adult Education. Get skilled, get hired, get ahead. collins-cc.edu. Classic Jewelry and Loan, Route 60 in Barbersville, your gold and silver headquarters. Metro Community Federal Credit Union, 215 18th Street, Huntington, and now 5th Street Road in Lavallette.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Elise Smith, First Lady of Marshall University and founder of the Women Warriors Summit. We are so excited to welcome country music star and author Trisha Yearwood back to Huntington for year 2 of this empowering event. We can't wait to see you on October 18th at Marshall Health Network Arena to learn about the power of productivity. Thank you to our sponsors, Nucor Steel, Encova, Dutch Miller Auto Group, Merrill Lynch, Fairmont Properties, and many more who are helping to empower the women of Appalachia. For more information on the summit, please visit womenwarriorsummit.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 with our text line at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been asking you what the winning play is going to be. How will the Herd win this one? Or if you so dare, how will the Herd lose this one? 304-396-TALK is our text line. Back to the text line we go. Texter says, Paul, the Herd is going to win on a game-winning fumble recovery, 22-20. Go Herd. Also from the text line, I do have respect for the little ears, Paul. All right, we appreciate all your texts. We'll get more in just a moment. 304-396-TALK is the number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I got a couple to drop now from Stone Earle as we're getting closer to the start of hostilities on Saturday. One thing that has really been important for Marshall, you got to get out to a fast start. If Marshall can get out to a fast start, put some pressure on the other team, Marshall's got a better chance. Coach Huff has talked about this for several weeks. Like, for example, Virginia Tech really didn't put any pressure on Virginia Tech. Now, in Columbus, the Herd put some pressure on Ohio State. Ultimately, the Buckeyes won that one, but Marshall was able to get on the board first, get a fast start. And so Stone Earle, quarterback for the Thundering Herd, talked a little bit about getting off to those fast starts.
I would say the offense has done a great job of starting fast. That's one thing after the first game that we wanted to clean up. First and second game is just starting fast, and that's one thing we've been able to do and clean up. But at the end of the day, we start fast, and then we kind of hit this little lull, and then we're kind of just going up and down. So that, it starts with me. I gotta be more consistent in my play. I make some good plays, but then I have some plays where it's like, come on, I'm better than that. So just continue to grow from those, and then watch the film, correct them, and then just being able to play the next play. The fumble I had, probably should have pitched it to the running back, but I ended up keeping it and then fumbled, and then we had to go out there. The defense helped us out, bailed us out, and then go out there the next drive and score. Just being able to put things behind me and play the next play, that's just a testament to the guys we have.
Now, one of the things I was curious about, this is, after all, a rivalry game. I don't know if the players that come in on a yearly basis get that. And again, this isn't the good old days where you have players that have been with you for the majority of their careers, 3 years, 4 years, sometimes 5 years. And so I don't know how rivalries build up with football teams when you have so many new guys and so much turnover on a yearly basis because of the transfer portal. There isn't that long-term history. There are some guys like Logan Osborne. He's got some history. He knows. There are a lot of guys that have come in. This is going to be their first season, maybe last season. Also, first time around, they don't know. Of course, fans have longer memories. Fans have been here longer. Fans know the ins and outs, the why. Why do you not like App State? Why do you not like a certain team? And so, as far as fans are concerned, this is exciting. It's Marshall, it's Appalachian State. It's a big-time battle between two schools that respect each other but like to get after each other. I think it's the best way to describe it. And, of course, App State leads this series 16-10. And since both teams have been FBS, it's tied at 2 games apiece. And, of course, you add last year's game. It was a win in Boone for the Mountaineers, 31-9. And Marshall does lead the home series 7-6. So Marshall could either push that out a little bit more on Saturday, or you could tie the record. So Marshall, right now, 1-game advantage over App State in Huntington. It's been an interesting series so far, but how do the players get into this? How do they respond? It's another game. Is it a rivalry? And, of course, Stone Earle, we'll probably find out more on Saturday, but what's his reaction to all of this rivalry talk?
I mean, obviously it's a huge game. It's a conference opener, and we know what kind of team they are. Like, they're better than what they've shown on film. They're strong, physical. They're big up front, and they fly around and have some playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So we're excited to go play in front of our home crowd. Just a great opportunity that we have this weekend, and we're all excited for sure.
So the standard answer, not really given much. Hey, it's a big game. We're excited for it. No bulletin board material there. Nothing that would really incense the other team. Those are the kind of answers you get from pressers like this. You'll get some details. They're great. Everyone's phenomenal. You know what I'm talking about. And so it's a rivalry game, but it's another game. It's going to be huge because it's the conference opener, and that's what Stone Earle's attitude is towards that. One more from Stone. He'll be facing off against that App State defense. So from a quarterback perspective, from someone who hasn't really been involved in this type of game with this team, when you look at them, what does App do well?
I would say the main thing that stands out is just how sound they are. Like Logan said earlier, like they're going to be in the right gap. They're going to fit where they need to fit. They're going to play the right coverage. There's not many mental mistakes on their side of the ball. So we gotta know what we want to do and just execute our game plan and go out there and just play free, play fast, and ultimately win the game.
Okay, there you have it. You got a little insight, but again, nothing that's going to be earth-shattering, nothing that's going to be a comprehensive breakdown of what you're going to get from App State as far as they're concerned on Saturday. We'll find out more, obviously. That's why we're playing the game. We'll have it for you. If you can't make it to the game, we've got it for you. We go on the air, 12:30. Kickoff is going to be 3:30, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also on 93.7 The Dog. We'll get more of your text in just a few minutes at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got a couple of interesting ones out there. I'll reset them for you. First of all, if Texas State were to leave, maybe the Pac-12 comes a-calling, and Texas State takes that phone call and leaves, since right now everything seems to have stalled out with the Mountain West. So if Texas State goes to the Pac-12, and they've got that state thing going on right now, where does conference realignment go now for the Sun Belt? Is it you try to cherry pick from somewhere else, or do you look a little closer to home, maybe a former member like Western Kentucky, or you get the new upstart, the new kid on the block, Liberty? Not really new, but Liberty's really making a push right now. Do you go after Liberty? So that's our big question there. Also, how will the Herd win the game? What's going to be the winning play of the game for the Thundering Herd? It can be anything from a sack, a fumble recovery, a pick six. It can be anything that would cause the Herd to win the game. Text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, there is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the Tri-State place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road.
Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kitty Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey, it's Lex and Terry, K&B Pest Control, locally owned and operated in Huntington, West Virginia, serving the Tri-State.
Man, these guys are great. They do residential and commercial, indoor, outdoor, free estimates. These guys are the best, I'm telling you.
This is when the critters come out. High customer ratings, satisfaction guaranteed, large fleet, crew, meaning same-day appointments, and quick service.
All you got to do is pick up your phone and call Patrick, the owner. Okay, that's what you got to do. Or Becca. They're standing by to take care of you guys. It's K&B Pest Control. online and give them a call, man. They got a great Facebook page. Go ahead and like it. They got a phone number. We'll give you that. Why not? It's free. 304-523-4281.
Or go to kmbpestcontrol.com. They will tell you what everything looks like, what you're looking for, if you're getting a pest problem, and get on top of it. They're the best. Make sure you call Patrick once again, who is very passionate about his pest control, or Becca. K&B Pest Control. They'll kill for your business.
Trust the guys with over 40 years of experience at K&B Pest Control.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Bell, and I invited you here to my hotel room to talk about your cheeks. Your big, beautiful cheeks. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm talking about swabbing them. Did you guys know that each year 20,000 Americans with blood cancer are searching for their life-saving marrow match? Can you even believe that? I mean, people need marrow, you guys, and we have it. So here's how we can help. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is swab your cheek, this cheek. Then go to Gift of Life Marrow Registry. It's so easy, anyone can do it. And in case you're wondering, if you're a match, donating, it's a lot easier than you think. So wherever you are, go ahead and swab that cheek. Go to giftoflife.org and get a free kit sent to your home, or find a donor drive in your area so that you can swab a cheek and save a life. It's only a minute of your time, but it can give someone else the rest of their life.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
304-396-TALK as we continue on with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Coming up later this evening, it's going to be the Coach Huff Show. your chance to hear one final time before game time what the head coach has to say. Steve Cotton, your host. That'll come up tonight, 7 o'clock right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And then we'll follow that up with a little Thursday night football for you. Tampa Bay is taking on Atlanta. We'll have that game immediately following the Coach Huff Show, so keep it right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line continues to be open. Let's go back to it. We've been asking you a couple of questions because, obviously, we've got a lot of things to try to sort out before Saturday. One question is, if Texas State would leave the Sun Belt, would you replace them with Liberty or Western Kentucky? And, of course, the other one is, how the Herd going to win this one on Saturday? Texture says, Paul, it's going to be a Herd victory, 30-27, and Veerhoff field goal. That's how many yards? How many yards out is that going to be? Is that going to be a 30-yarder? Is that going to be a 40-yarder? Is it going to be on which hash mark is it going to be on? I need details on that one. Field goal to win it from Reese Veerhoff. Okay, all right. I hope it's not that close. I mean, I like your prediction. It means it's an exciting game, but I don't want it to be an exciting game. This is the one time I just want Marshall to come out, take care of business against App State, put them away, come out, score early. Let's get this thing over with, and then everybody can go home and have a good night. I just don't want to see the Herd hanging around with App State because I don't like seeing the Herd hanging around with App State. I don't want this close whatsoever. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to probably either be a close game or it's going to be one that maybe be lost in the fourth by one of the two teams. Texter says, Paul, it's going to be inside the 40-yard line. Reese has got it. All right. Veerhoff, 40-yarder, inside the 40-yard line. I'll take that. 304-396-TALK is our text line. As I said, we got a lot to get into for the rest of the week. Starting tonight, Sun Belt play. Texas State's going to be at Troy, so that should be an interesting one. Volleyball is in action now at the Henderson Center. They'll be back at it tomorrow. Hoops and Huntington's going on tonight at 7 o'clock, downtown Huntington, Pullman Square. And, of course, we've got the Coach Huff Show at 7, and we've got Tampa Bay at Atlanta coming up following that right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Some good news today as well. Rasheen Ali returning to practice. He was on the IR, so he's back practicing with Baltimore, so that's a good sign. Let's hope that Rasheen Ali can get out there and show what he's made of. That's a good sign. And then if you're a Bengals fan like me, some good news. Kenny Anderson among 60 individuals advancing to the next round. This is the seniors category for Hall of Fame class 2025. Lamar Parrish, Isaac Curtis also on the list. I would like to see all three of those guys get in, but Kenny Anderson would be my first choice if I could only get one of those guys in this time, as he was the quarterback before Boomer Esiason. My favorite quarterback is Boomer Esiason for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think my second favorite quarterback right now would be a toss-up between Kenny Anderson and Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe's the current, but I'm a big Kenny Anderson fan. Met him a couple of times when the Bengals were holding camp in Georgetown, so I get a chance to go to a couple of those. Met him. A real nice guy. He was part of the staff then. It was good to meet him, good to talk to him for a few minutes. So I like Kenny Anderson. He was like the guy before Boomer, he was my grandmother's quarterback. Boomer's my quarterback. He's a generation back or two back of their quarterback. So for some of you, you might not even really know him that well. And I'm sure if you're a Bengals fan, you kind of know. You know who the heroes and the icons are. But if you don't, Kenny Anderson was a heck of a quarterback. So I'd love to see some more Bengals get into the Hall of Fame. And Kenny Anderson among 60 individuals advancing to the next round. So that's a good sign, especially for a guy like Kenny Anderson, who I think the quarterbacks that don't win the Super Bowl, you can get to the Super Bowl, but if you don't win it and you don't get a chance to get back, you sometimes get forgotten about because you don't have that Super Bowl victory. And you could have a tremendous career, but he didn't have a Super Bowl. He didn't win a trophy. He didn't win an NBA championship. Or, you don't have as many championships as Michael Jordan. Or if you didn't even win as many as Kobe. Or if you're Charles Barkley, I think he's transcended because even though Charles Barkley isn't championship Chuck, as he might say, nobody's calling him that, he's one of those players that we know and recognize, like, look, okay, he didn't get a championship. That's not a result of him. But the teams that he was playing for, he was on, and he's still one of the all-time greats. I'd want him on my team any day. All right, back to the text line. Texter says, Paul, stone to pain for the win. All right, I like it. Stone to pain for the win. You want to embellish that a little bit? Is it going to be a 15-yarder? Is it going to be a 20-yarder? You guys can embellish those. Winning play, stone to, I like it. We'll take it. Just a few more times running out, so we'll get those in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's the number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And don't forget tonight, if you're not into the football, you got an elimination game tonight. Of course, after game one, all the games are elimination games in the wild card round, but we've got a game 3. Brewers beating the Mets yesterday 5-3, so the series is all tied up at 1. And so 7 o'clock tonight in Milwaukee, that will decide that. Yesterday, the Tigers got the sweep of the Astros. Did not break my heart there. Beat them 5-2, so the Tigers take on Cleveland in the American League Divisional Series. Who do you take there? I'm not necessarily a fan of either team, but I might have to take the Tigers in that one. Royals versus the Yankees, I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm going to pull for a team, I think I'm pulling for the Yankees in this one. Just because. And, of course, San Diego doing me a solid, eliminating the Braves 5-4 yesterday. So San Diego taking on the Dodgers in the National League Divisional Series. I did not shed a tear for the Braves getting eliminated. I mean, yesterday was great. The Braves got eliminated. See ya. Not sad about that. The Astros got eliminated. See ya. Not sad about that as well. And then you've got a possibility of the Brewers getting knocked out by the Mets. If the Mets can take care of business tonight, the Brewers get eliminated. I'm not going to be sad about that as well. This is how I play the game. Which team do I like the least, and I'm rooting for the other team. This is how I play this game when it comes to baseball, since obviously I don't root for a baseball team capable of making the postseason. At least the Bengals have taken care of there's a possibility of making the postseason now argument. When you root for them, they have a potential most years. Baseball, I don't seem to root for teams that know how are capable of making the postseason. So I don't know what this excitement playoff fever is when it comes to baseball. That's going to do it for me. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got you covered. You missed a part of the show today. Don't worry. You can go back and listen to it. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So if you've got some different app you like to use, we got you covered right there. You can also go to our website. Check that out at WRVC.com. You can download the app right from there. We've got the link. It'll take you to either your Android or your Apple store. You can get the app. It's free. You can listen to the show live as we stream it. And, of course, we get the podcast right there as well in that app. So you're covered any way you want to listen to the show. Or you want to just listen to the show the old-fashioned way, you can tune in tomorrow, 5:06, right here, ESPN 94.1.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.